Media, VON Radio, from the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
From the VON Newsline, this is the VON Major Newscast.
Good evening, I am Tashan Tyson, in with you in the news package for today, Friday 25th October 2019. In these stories, nationally, St. Kitts Immigration Department interviewing persons rescued from vessel in distress, and Cherry Garden resident charged with money laundering. Regionally, armed police guard came in court as witness gives evidence. Internationally, 2 held on suspicion of manslaughter in Essex lorry deaths. And in sports, Bermuda cricketer gets 1 match suspension during ICC Men's T20 World Cup qualifier. We'll have the details of these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, VON.
Welcome back. Another national news in detail. The Immigration Department is in the process of conducting interviews with the immigrants that arrived in St. Kitts on Wednesday, October 23rd, police say. This is to ascertain the details of their circumstances and to verify their port of embarkation as well as to the intended port of disembarkation. The French Coast Guard rescued the MV Ocean King, which sent an emergency distress signal on October 23, 2019, and handed the vessel over to the St. Kitts and Nevis Coast Guard as the closest port to the boat. The St. Kitts and Nevis Coast Guard escorted the vessel to the pier at the Coast Guard base in Basti at about 9 p.m. There were 35 persons, 34 nationals believed to be from Haiti and 1 believed to be from Dominica. One of the individuals is a juvenile. 4 persons were taken to the JNF General Hospital in St. Kitts for treatment and observation, but 2 of them have been since discharged and joined the others who are currently in custody. Money laundering has over the past few years been of much concern to the general public. However, authorities here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis continue to work diligently in catching perpetrators of such acts. A release from the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force states that a woman has been charged. Corey Lawrence of Cherry Gardens, Nevis, was on October 23, 2019, formally charged for the offense of money laundering. Lawrence was previously arrested on October 4, 2019, and charged with 46 counts of forgery. The offences for which she is charged were committed between June 1, 2010 and September 30, 2016. Michael Mickey Davis of McKnight Saddlers was formally charged for the murder of 85-year-old Elva York. The offence was committed on Monday, June 17, 2019 in Upper Boreau Extension. Davis was charged on October 24, 2019. On June 18th, police in a statement said a neighbor of the deceased contacted the police after attempts to contact the elderly woman failed. Upon arriving to the scene, police observed the elderly woman lying motionless on her kitchen floor. An autopsy conducted by forensic pathologist Dr. Alexandrov on June 23rd had concluded that 85-year-old Elva York was strangled to death. Is the time right for a major economic transformation? The economy of St. Kitts and Nevis has been based on tourism since the closure of the sugar industry in July 2005, which was at the time the Federation's major economic earner. Because of the investments made in tourism 14 years later, the Federation has welcomed its 1 millionth cruise ship passenger, the arrival of the world's largest cruise ship, Royal Caribbean Symphony of the Seas, and has recorded the most successful edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival, which saw some 30,000 patrons attending. What can be done to add more major economic earners? At the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party's press conference held earlier this month, the party's leader, Dr. Honorable Denzil Douglas, expressed the party's view with respect to the aforementioned.
We feel very strongly that a services economy should be diversified. We still wanted to maintain the enclave small manufacturing sector on the industrial state. We tried our hand at international financial services, the services with regard to overseas education services. 15% today is being contributed by the international schools that are here. Look at what it has done in terms of the large number of our citizens who are making a living by providing dorms to those students who are here.
He also made this statement.
I am confident that we will continue, yes, to be led with a services economy, but it is going to be not just tourism and hospitality services, education services, and agriculture is still there. Don't forget, medical tourism is still there.
St. Kitts and Nevis continues to invest in activities to nurture and grow the minds of the youths of the Federation and find meaningful ways for them to occupy their time, and will continue to do so this coming weekend. This will happen when the Major League Baseball MLB Players Alumni Association will hold training clinics here in St. Kitts and Nevis for some 200 children in the Federation. This falls under the League's Legends of Tomorrow youth program. Sessions will be held in Nevis at the El Comido T. Willett Park on Sunday, October 27, 2019, and on St. Kitts at the Gardens playing field in McKnight from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Senior Sports Officer at the Department of Youth and Sports here on Nevis, Mr. Kelvin Bramble, in speaking to this media house, noted that the department is using this activity to promote educational opportunities for youths and to curb youth criminal activity.
How we really try to push baseball is basically to create more opportunities for the kids in St. Kitts and Nevis in terms of creating opportunities educational-wise. Baseball is a growing sport around the world, and of course it's not one of the stronger sports in Nevis like cricket. We really believe that if we are able to utilize baseball to help reduce violence and crimes and to help a lot of the young kids to be able to go to college, be able to get a scholarship through baseball, then it will be a plus for us.
The sports officer also used the opportunity to encourage parents to send their children out to participate in the activity.
They have sent 3 Major League Baseball players and past players to come down to facilitate the clinic. They will be facilitating the clinic and basically demonstrating the basics of baseball so that everybody here will be able to understand, as well as some of the coaches that might be participating tomorrow. I would definitely recommend a lot of the parents to take advantage of this. It's not every day that we get professional players from professional organizations to come to St. Kitts and Nevis to help train and develop your kids at the professional level. So I would definitely urge everyone to send their kids down to participate.
Senior Sports Officer at the Department of Youth and Sports, Mr. Kelvin Bramble. Videos are showing a number of female high school students tripping and making fun of a younger male student at the Charles E. Mills Secondary School, CEMSS, were circulated on social media on Monday, October 21st. The videos depicted at least 3 female students holding down a boy, pulling down his pants and exposing his genitals. The ordeal was recorded by a student's cell phone, and other students in the video could be heard using profanity, laughing as well as jeering at the boy. Since the incident, the VON Newsline understands that the Ministry of Education in St. Kitts has stated that they are dealing with the matter and the individuals involved have been suspended. The VON Newsline also attempted to contact the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education in St. Kitts, Mr. William Hodge, and the Minister of Education, Honorable Sean Richards, for an update on the matter, but to no avail. More information will be provided as this story develops. In more national news.
The rationale behind the STEP survey is to look at the impact of chronic diseases in our federation and to have a comprehensive population-wide program that will look to reduce chronic diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, cancers, kidney disease, etc. So the idea is to make sure that we have information collected that is strictly confidential, of course, and that can help us to strengthen our program.
That's coordinator at the Health Promotion Unit here on Nevis, Mrs. Nadine Carty-Keynes. She was speaking in relation to a national health survey dubbed STEPS survey, which the Ministry of Health in St. Kitts and Nevis will conduct. The STEPS survey is a population-based cross-sectional survey targeting persons between the ages of 18 and 69 years. The STEPS survey seeks to collect information on the risk factors for non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, etc. It will gather data on tobacco use, salt intake, obesity, physical activity, and other risk factors. This will be done by randomly selecting households. The Ministry of Health has also received technical support from the Pan-American Health Organization, PAHO. She also gave a date as to when the survey will commence.
Well, we'll have the survey officials or interviewers in the field the last week in October, and so we're looking at a time frame of October to November for the survey to commence. The field work will probably complete in early December in terms of the whole process, analyzing the data and getting the report back to country. That will probably take a bit longer, so we're looking at the end of the first quarter in 2020 for the completion of this survey.
Coordinator at the Health Promotion Unit here on Nevis, Mrs. Nadine Carty-Keynes. Nevis's Premier Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Mark Brantley, joined leaders and representatives from over 180 countries at the ceremony of enthronement of the 112th Royal Leader of Japan, Emperor Naruhito, in Tokyo, Japan, on Tuesday, October 22nd, and joined in other related activities. The ceremony was attended by hundreds of dignitaries, including Prince Charles of Great Britain and other members of the royal families from across Europe, Asia, and Africa. Emperor Naruhito, who had previously acceded to the throne in May following the abdication of his father, Emperor Emeritus Akihito, declared at the solemn ceremony, "I now perform the ceremony of enthronement at the Sidon State Hall and proclaim my enthronement to those at home and abroad." Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe delivered a brief response following the declaration and led guests in 3 chairs before Emperor Naruhito and Empress Masako exited. Minister Brantley conveyed greetings to the new emperor from the Governor General of St. Kitts and Nevis, His Excellency Sir Tapley Seaton, and Prime Minister Dr. Honorable Timothy Harris. Minister Brantley also engaged other dignitaries, including Prince Charles and U.S. Secretary of Transportation Elaine Chao, and regional leaders. He was accompanied by Ambassador of St. Kitts and Nevis in the Republic of China, Taiwan, Her Excellency Jasmine E. Huggins. And finally, a water treatment system which the Nevis Island Administration NIA is investing in will see the generation of an additional 500,000 gallons of water per day when it is installed to treat water at a well in Hamilton. As such, Manager of the Water Resource Management Department within the Ministry of Communications, Mr. Floyd Robinson, said that a filtration system will be installed at Hamilton. It is Mr. Robinson's belief that the additional water would serve the island well, given the drought conditions it has been experiencing. Following the announcement, Vice President of Edge Water Technologies, Mr. Greg Gillis, said the filtration process would be environmentally friendly. That's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com and check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
Life can be more fulfilling when we take the time out to smell the roses. And that's why your friends and family at the Bank of Nevis are experts at picking the flowers that best describe you. Whether you're planning to treat yourself after a long work week or finally getting around to that closet update, you deserve all the special things that life has to offer, and the Bond Visa card is here to help you achieve it. With just a swipe, you can turn a last-minute lunch date with friends and family into something worth remembering, with memories that will last a lifetime. Pampering yourself just got a whole lot easier, and after all, you deserve every refreshing moment of it. The ability to make your travel arrangements at your own convenience, whether by sea or by air, now rests within the palm of your hand. With a single swipe, the Bond Visa card can put a world of difference between life and truly living, whereas the only limit you may have is your own imagination. Apply today. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life.
Welcome back, and now the regional news in detail. Out of the Cayman Islands. Security at the Georgetown courthouse was beefed up Thursday as a witness gave evidence in an ongoing case regarding a 2017 home invasion in Prospect. Kane Thomas, 20, one of the men who has admitted being involved in the crime, began giving evidence against Elmer Wright, 25, who is now the only man left in the dock, after the third co-defendant in the case, Nickel Thomas, 24, made admissions about his role just before the trial resumed. A fourth man has never been charged. The police were out in force at the court as a result of the undisclosed concerns relating to the case, with armed officers stationed both inside and out. Numerous patrol vehicles from the Firearms Response and K9 units, as well as the helicopter, were deployed for trial, which is being presided over by judge alone without a jury. Wright and Kane and Nickel Thomas, who are brothers, were all charged last year with a catalogue of crimes, but since Kane Thomas has agreed to give evidence against Wright and Nickel has also made admissions, the trial is focusing on Wright and the unnamed fourth suspect. All four men are accused of stealing a Honda Civic from a hotel car park and an attempted burglary on the West Bay Road, but just 3 of the men are now believed to have been involved in what has been described as a terrifying home invasion for the victims. Out of St. Lucia. Carnival Corporation and Royal Caribbean Cruises Limited have signed a Memorandum of Understanding MOU with the Government of St. Lucia to form a joint venture to manage the existing cruise pier and terminal facilities in the island and to design, construct, and operate a new cruise port. As part of the MOU, Carnival Corporation, Royal Caribbean, and the St. Lucia government will establish a long-term concession agreement to formalize the terms and responsibilities for the joint venture to manage and operate the current cruise pier and terminal facilities at the Port of Castries. Additionally, the joint venture will design, finance, construct, and operate a new cruise port in Vieux-Fort on the southern part of the island that will be able to accommodate the latest and most innovative ships in the cruise industry. Prime Minister Alan Chastney has called the MOU signing, which took place on Monday at the annual Florida Caribbean Cruise Association FCCA Cruise Conference and Trade Show in San Juan, Puerto Rico, historic and a major step towards enhancing St. Lucia's tourism product. Senior Vice President of Global Port and Destination Development for Carnival Corporation, Jura Israel, said with the new development project, St. Lucia will be well positioned for jobs and significant economic impact for many years to come. And finally, out of Barbados. Having doubled its seat capacity to the Caribbean over the last decade, JetBlue is looking to expand its business footprint in the region, including through its travel booking arm, JetBlue Travel Products. Head of Commercial for JetBlue Travel Products, Mike Pesicola, made a presentation at a recent Caribbean Outlook Forum organized by the Caribbean Tourism Organization, CTO, in Antigua and Barbuda. He said JetBlue operates over 1,000 flights daily with a third of its route network in the Caribbean, and this is likely to increase as JetBlue continues to expand capacity in the years ahead. Since mid-2018, JetBlue has added 6 additional non-stop routes to Caribbean destinations. In addition, the JetBlue official told the senior tourism policymakers and executives the company was also focused on increasing bookings of ground transportation, tours, hotels, and attractions in destinations through the travel booking arm. He added that JetBlue was only focusing on improving its cooperative marketing with destinations and large resorts, while also emphasizing the uniqueness of Caribbean destinations by highlighting their culture, food, and events. That's it for regional stories. Stay with us for news from around the world. Welcome back, and now the international news in detail. 2 people have been arrested on suspicion of the manslaughter of 39 people found dead in a refrigerated lorry in Essex. The man and woman, both 38, from Warrington, Cheshire, were also held on suspicion of conspiracy to traffic. The BBC has spoken to the families of 3 Vietnamese people who are worried their relatives may have been in the trailer.
They paid traffickers £30,000 for her to be moved from Vietnam to the UK. They'd stayed in touch with her during her journey, and they'd had a message from her late on Tuesday night, UK time, saying, sorry, I'm not going to make it, I'm suffocating.
Amnesty International has condemned Iranian authorities for cutting off the fingers of a man convicted of theft. The rights group said the amputation carried out at a prison in the northern province of Mazandaran was an aberrant form of torture. Iranian officials said the man was found guilty of 28 cases of theft. Iran's Islamic Penal Code says theft on the first occasion is punishable by the amputation of 4 fingers of the right hand. Iranian authorities have defended amputation as the best way to deter theft despite protests by international human rights organizations. However, reports of such punishments are rare. Security forces in the Iraqi capital Baghdad have fired tear gas to disperse demonstrators trying to march on government buildings. Reports said 2 people have died after being hit by the tear gas canisters and scores were injured. Marchers are demanding more jobs, better public services, and an end to corruption. Similar protests earlier this month were brutally put down by security forces, leaving nearly 150 people dead. Laif Cuba, an independent advisor to Iraq's Prime Minister, told the BBC the government is in crisis.
I do believe if the promises and the pledges are not met, and if there is no significant shift in its politics, I think this government will be forced to resign. The government is really under pressure to get its act together. I doubt if it has the capacity.
And finally, a Russian serviceman has shot dead 8 fellow soldiers and injured at least 2 more on a military base in the country's Far East, officials say. The soldier who has been detained might have been suffering from mental health problems, they said. The shooting happened in the village of Garnim, not far from the city of Cheetah, on Friday evening. More in this BBC report.
So as far as we know, this happened around 6 p.m. local time, so that would be something like 10 a.m. London time. Most probably this guy was a conscript because, in Russian army there is still conscription. And yes, he, during the change of the guard, he used his automatic gun to open fire on his fellow servicemen, and at least 8 people are dead and 2 more are in hospital. We don't know the reasons yet. What we know is that he served in an artillery brigade, which hosts Iskander missiles.
That brings us to the end of our news segment. The latest in sports is next.
Hello? Joan, did you remember that pink is in at TDC Home and Building Depots?
It's that time again?
It sure is. This October, they have up to 75% off in their pink ribbon clearance sale. And don't forget, every October, TDC Home and Building Depots have free breast screenings every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And you can also support their Cook for the Cure barbecue events while you're there, Plus, they have Pinktober specials all month long, so we can shop early and save.
So this October, think pink, think TDC Home and Building Depots?
That's right. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Welcome back. Another sports in detail. In cricket, Bermuda's right-handed batsman Deontay Darrell was handed a one suspension point on Wednesday for breaching level 2 of the ICC Code of Conduct. The player thus missed the country's next ICC Men's T20 World Cup qualifier match against Scotland on Thursday. 27-year-old Darrell was found to have breached Article 2.21 of the ICC Code of Conduct for players and player support personnel, which relates to conduct that brings the game into disrepute, following his reckless behavior during a Group A match against Namibia at the ICC Academy Ground number 2 on Wednesday, which the latter won by 6 wickets. In addition to the suspension point, Darrell has also received 3 demerit points. The incident happened in the 8th over of Bermuda's innings. After being adjudged a leg before wicket, and when he was leaving the field, Darrell threw one of his batting gloves in the direction of the opposite team, hurled his bat at the advertising board, and then threw his second glove in the direction of his own team in a very aggressive and intimidating manner. It is to note that the level 2 breaches carry a fine of 50 to 100% of the match fee and or up to 2 suspension points, equating to 3 or 4 demerit points. In basketball, the Golden State Warriors lost to the LA Clippers in their first regular season game at their new $1 billion arena. The Clippers surged to a 141-122 victory in San Francisco, with Lou Williams scoring 22 points. Stephen Curry was the game's leading scorer with 23 points, but the Warriors, who lost 2-time NBA champion Kevin Durant in July, struggled. It is the first time the Warriors have played a regular season game in San Francisco since 1971. Elsewhere, Vince Carter became the first NBA player to play in 22 seasons when he appeared for the Atlanta Hawks. The 42-year-old is the last active player drafted in the 1990s. The Hawks registered a 117-100 victory win over the Detroit Pistons. In athletics, Nike has announced Chief Executive Mark Parker will step down from the role next year, just weeks after the company's Oregon project closed down. Earlier this month, head coach Alberto Salazar was banned for 4 years after being found guilty of doping violations. Parker has backed Salazar and said Nike would support him in any appeal. Parker will become Nike's executive chairman in January and will be replaced by John Donahoe. Nike said Parker would continue to lead the board of directors and work closely with Donahoe and the senior management team. On October 11th, Nike released a statement saying the Salazar situation had become an unfair burden on athletes on the elite training program. And finally, Conor McGregor says he will make his UFC return on 18 January 2020, despite announcing his retirement from mixed martial arts earlier this year. The 31-year-old has not fought in the octagon since his defeat by Russia's Khabib Nurmagomedov at UFC 229 in October 2018. McGregor told the news conference on Thursday that he is in prime physical condition to fight. He added that he had agreed the return date with the UFC and that he would also seek a later bout in Moscow against the winner of Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson, who are set to fight in early 2020. And that's it for sports. The General Weather Report is next. Welcome back, and now the local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. Weather tonight will be partly cloudy with a 40% or moderate chance of showers. Weather tomorrow will be partly sunny with a 40% or a moderate chance of showers. Winds are east to northeast at 11 to 22 kilometers per hour or 6 to 12 knots. Seas are less than 1.5 meters or less than 5 feet. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 6 or 6 a.m. And that's a wrap up the major news package for today, Friday, 25th October 2019. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, St. Kitts Immigration Department interviewing persons rescued from vessel in distress, and Cherry Garden resident charged with money laundering. Regionally, armed police guard came on court as a witness gives evidence. Internationally, 2 held on suspicion of manslaughter in Essex lorry deaths. And in sports, Bermuda cricketer gets 1 match suspension during ICC Men's T20 World Cup qualifier. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Tashan Tyson, wishing you a safe and an enjoyable weekend.